You're 52 and you just checked your savings account. $417. That's it. That's everything between you and a medical bill. Everything between you and your card ting. Everything between you and still working at 70. You feel the panic in your chest. Everyone else started at 25. You're so far behind the math doesn't even work anymore. Except here's what nobody tells you. If you start today, right now, with nothing, and you save just $200 a month, in 15 years, you'll have $58,000. That's not retirement, but that's your transmission. That's 6 months of rent if you lose your job. That's never calling your kids begging for money. It doesn't have to end the way you're afraid it will. The gap closes faster than you think when you know the actual moves. And the first move is the one that surprises people the most. I'm Jimmy, and this is Late to Wealth, the channel for people who started late and refuse to stay behind. Subscribe and turn on the bell because we're building this together, okay? Let's talk about starting from zero, not zero as in I need to save more. Zero as in there is actually nothing there. You live paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you've got debt. Maybe you've been telling yourself you'll start next month for 5 years. And now you're staring down 50 or 55. And the fear is so loud you can't think. I need you to hear this. Zero is not a moral failing. Zero is a starting point. And here's the part nobody tells you. Starting from zero is actually your edge because you have no bad habits to unlearn, no complicated portfolio to untangle. You get to build this right from the ground up. The people who started at 25 and coasted, half of them are doing it wrong and don't even know it. You're starting with clarity, so let's use it. Here are the 5 moves that actually work when you're starting from nothing. Now, the mistake everyone makes is thinking the first step is save $1,000. That's too big. Your brain sees 1,000 and shuts down before you start. Step 1, save your first single dollar on purpose. I'm serious, $1. Here's why this matters. Saving is a muscle, and if you haven't used it in years or ever, it's atrophied. You don't walk into a gym and deadlift 300 pounds. You start with the bar. Your first dollar is the bar. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Maria is 47, works at a call center in Tucson. She's never saved a dime. Every month something comes up. I told her, open a savings account at a different bank than your checking, somewhere you have to log in separately. Then move $1 into it, just one. She laughed at me, but she did it. The next week she moved $5, then 10. 6 months later, she had $600. Not because she suddenly made more money, because she proved to herself she could do it. And that belief is worth more than the 600. What you do this week, open a high-yield savings account online. Ali, Marcus, whichever. Takes 10 minutes. Transfer $1. You're not behind anymore. You started. But the next move is the one almost everyone skips, and it quietly costs them the most. Step 2, do the invisible expense audit. Look, I know you've heard track your spending before, and you've ignored it because it sounds like homework. But stay with me. This is different. You're not tracking everything. You're hunting for the invisible leaks. Here's what I mean. You know your rent, you know your car payment, you know your groceries roughly, but there's a whole category of expenses you signed up for once and forgot about. And they've been bleeding you dry for years. Subscriptions you don't use, apps that auto-renew, upgraded phone plans you never downgraded, insurance you're overpaying for because you haven't shopped it in a decade. The average person has 4 subscriptions they forgot they're paying for. That's $60 to $100 a month, every single month, for nothing. Let me give you a specific example. Carlos is 51, works in HVAC in San Antonio. He did this audit and found a gym membership from 2019. $35 a month. He hasn't stepped foot in that gym since COVID. That's $420 a year he was lighting on fire. He also found he was paying for Hulu, Netflix, HBO Max, and Disney+. He kept Netflix, canceled the rest. Saved another $40 a month. That's $75 a month total, which became $900 a year, without earning a single extra dime. What you do this week? Pull up your bank statement from last month. Highlight every recurring charge. Ask yourself, am I actually using this? Cancel everything you are not. No guilt. You can always resubscribe if you miss it. You won't. Now here's where it changes for you because finding the money is one thing, keeping it is another. Step 3, use the two-account trick and to save without willpower. Here's the problem with the saving. If the money sits in your checking account, you'll spend it. You'll tell yourself you won't, but you will. Because life happens, the water heater breaks, your kid needs something. You have a bad week and order takeout 3 times. Willpower doesn't work, especially when you're tired from working all day. So you remove willpower from the equation. Here's how. You open 2 accounts, one checking, one savings, at different banks. This is critical. If they're at the same bank, you'll transfer it back in 30 seconds. Then you set up automatic transfers the day after payday. Even if it's $25, even if it's 10. The amount doesn't matter at first. The automation does. Because if you have to manually move it every month, you'll skip it. You'll tell yourself just this once. And just this once becomes every time. But if it moves automatically, it's gone before you even see it. And here's the magic. You adjust your life around what's left. Let me show you. Denise is 49, works retail in Cleveland. She set up a $25 auto transfer every payday, $50 a month. First month, she panicked, thought she'd run out of money. She didn't. She just bought a few less things she didn't need. Second month, she didn't even notice. A year later, she had $600. She'd never had $600 in her life. And it happened because she never had to think about it. What you do this week, set up an automatic transfer. $10, $20, whatever you can start with. Payday to savings account. Different bank. Lock it in and forget it. You just became a saver. Now, this next one only applies if you have a job with benefits. But if you do, this is the single fastest way to multiply your money. And most people starting late have no idea it's sitting right in front of them. Step 4, grab the employer match you are leaving on the table. Okay, if your job offers a 401k, that's a retirement account. You put money in from your paycheck before taxes. And a lot of employers will match what you put in, up to a certain amount. Usually 3 to 6% of your paycheck, that matches free money. Literally, you put in $1, they put in $1. You just doubled your money instantly. There is no investment on earth that doubles your money the second you make it, except this. And if you're not contributing enough to get the full match, you're walking away from free money every single paycheck. Here's a real example. Angela is 44, works at a hospital in Atlanta. Her employer matches up to 4%. She makes $42,000 a year. 4% of that is $1,680. If she contributes $1,680, her employer adds another $1,680. That's $3,360 a year going into her retirement. But she was only contributing Haku 2%. So she was leaving $840 a year on the table for nothing. I told her, bump it to 4%. It's $32 a paycheck. She did it. Didn't even feel it after the first month. And now she's getting an extra $840 a year that she wasn't getting before. What you do this week, log into your 401k or ask HR if you have one. Find out what the match is, then contribute at least enough to get the full match. If you can't afford the full match yet, contribute anything. 1%, something, then increase it 1% every 6 months. You won't even feel it. But in 10 years, you'll have a real cushion. Now, here's the move that no one talks about because it's not sexy and it doesn't feel like progress. But it's the difference between staying at zero and actually building something. Step 5, protect your zero from yourself. Look, saving money is hard, but keeping it is harder because life will test you. Something will break. Someone will need something and you'll have a rough month and want to raid that savings account. And if it's easy to access, you will. So you make it hard, not impossible. Just hard enough that you have to pause and think. Here's how. 1, keep your savings at a different bank with no debit card, so you can't impulse spend it. 2, don't tell people you have it. I know that sounds harsh. But if your brother knows you've got $500 saved, guess who's calling when his rent is short? 3, name your savings account something specific. Not emergency fund, that's vague. Name it, never ask my kids for money, or fix the car without a credit card. Something that reminds you why you're doing this. Because in the moment when you're tired and broke and tempted to spend it, that name will stop you. Let me tell you about Robert. He's 56, drives a delivery truck in Michigan. He saved $700 over 8 months. His daughter's car broke down. She needed $400. He almost gave it to her. But his savings account was named Never Be Broke at 65. He saw that name and he paused. He helped her, but he helped her find another way. A payment plan with the mechanic. He didn't drain his account, and he's at $1,500 now. What you do this week? Name your savings account something that will stop you from touching it. Make it personal, make it real. Write it down and look at it when you're tempted. Okay, let's bring this home. You're starting from zero. That's okay. Zero is just a number. It's not your future. Here's what you do. Save your first dollar to prove you can. Cut the invisible expenses bleeding you dry. Automate your savings so willpower doesn't matter. Grab the employer match if you've got one. And protect what you save from life and from yourself. These 5 moves won't make you rich, but they'll get you off zero. And off zero is where everything starts. You're not building a fortune, you're building a floor. So the next bad thing that happens doesn't flatten you. That's what Late to Wealth is about. Building the floor, then building up from there, one intentional dollar at a time. Now here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Starting late means you don't get to coast. You don't get to make mistakes and recover for 20 years. You have to be smarter, faster, and more deliberate than the people who started young. That's not fair, but it's reality. And you can handle reality because you've been handling hard things your whole life. This is just one more. And this time you've got a plan. Drop a comment and tell me this. What's the one expense you know you should cut but keep paying for anyway? No judgment. I want to see how many of us you're paying for the same stuff. And if you're serious about catching up, subscribe because we're doing this together. One step at a time. You're not behind. You're just getting started.